Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heike and you're watching Stone Cold Coffee Crafts. And today I am going to try to record another WiP Chat. The kit I'm working on is Kimono from DIYmoon Shop and Cathy Delancey, their newest artist collaboration. This is a limited edition kit which has been given to me by DIYmoon Shop to basically promote their Christmas giving event 2019, because for this event they are going to give away 5 of these kits to any of you guys who want to enter the charity contest. So if you're interested in that, please go back a few videos and check out the unboxing video for this kit, and you will find all the information you need on how to win and how to participate in the Christmas giving event, because those are two totally separate things. You don't have to participate to actually be eligible to win this kit. All this information is in the unboxing video, so please check that out. As you can see, I have already finished a section of this painting. This is about a quarter of the painting. I have worked with all the special items that are in this kit, like these yellow roses, the black AB you see here, which are sprinkled throughout the black of her kimono, and the old gold crystals. These are like the electric diamonds, real glass, and those are resin special beads. And I have to say, even though DIYmoon Shop recommends to use a special strong adhesive to attach these flowers to the canvas, I have to say they are quite secure on the pulled glue. So I don't think I'm going to add any special adhesive underneath them. To be quite honest, I'm not sure if I want to do that. So let me check. So the reason why I thought I would record another WiP Chat was because I think I actually have a bit to talk about today. Usually I claim that my life is pretty boring, and that's honestly very true. There's not much going on here. Taking a sip of coffee while it's still hot. But this week actually, or last week I have to say, quite a few things happened and I feel relieved, and I thought I would share this with you guys. So a lot of you have been with me from the beginning, I believe, and you have heard me talk about my job before. So I guess I have to give you a bit of a broader view. So I am working for an IT service provider, and we are basically, as an IT service provider does, selling service. Last year I asked for reassignment because I had been on my job for 14 years, and I thought it would be time to do something else. Quite honestly, people kept telling me it was time to do something else. So I listened to them. I didn't want to be stuck forever. And also there was the possibility to lose my demand, as we call it anyway. So I thought, you know what, let's be proactive and look for something new. I wanted to basically redirect myself into a different career anyway. I have been interested in project management for quite some time. It has been actually part of my apprenticeship program as well. So people like me usually, I think that's where I want to go, usually have a tendency to go into I think I went too high, into project management anyway, because that's just something which fits our job profile. I'm trying to keep in line with the section I've chosen. Yeah, I'm a bit OCD over that. Yeah. So I thought let's try and get into that. My company is still pretty young. So we used to be part of HP, and HP in 2006 decided to sell a part of their German employees off to another company. I was part of that, and since August 2016, I'm officially working for a company that hasn't existed before and is part of a bigger company group. So we are considered a pretty young company, even though I think our median age is actually something like 50 plus. So we are kids in our hearts, I guess. So yeah. And since we are a pretty new company, suddenly opportunities arose. And what hasn't been possible while we were still HPE, like getting proper training to become something, instead of just keep working in the job you've had for ages and ages and ages. And if you want to learn, please pay for it yourself, employee, which I guess is a feasible option, but they really can't expect your regular employee to invest thousands of dollars into their own education so they can profit, in my opinion. It should be a give and take. But that might be my German entitlement, because that's how it used to be. And that's how we still expect it to be. So maybe that's outdated. Still what I'm expecting. Sorry. It's a bit like my partner is a physical therapist, and in Germany, if you want to become a physical therapist, you actually have to pay for the whole education. Instead of what I did, I was paid to get educated. Another sip of coffee. And it pretty much stays the same after you've graduated from physical therapy school. You can either move on to university, or you can just start working like he did, and you can go on weekend seminars to get further education, and those are quite expensive as well. But his boss, for example, will pay a part of that. So why doesn't mine do that? That's my thinking behind that. But I'm sorry, I digress. So in this new company, they have realized they need a certain qualifications that just weren't there. And there is now a pretty big budget for training and education and stuff like that. And I thought, let's go in a different direction. Let's finally go down the project management route. But I'm not an educated project manager yet. So the idea was to get into a position that would give me opportunity to work as a project manager on something I was familiar with and could handle without being formally educated and without certain specialty knowledge I just don't have right now, like cloud computing and stuff like that. So I ended up with our group internal, I should say, not company internal, real estate. And I was handling office moves, closures, openings, stuff like that. That would have been fine. I've been doing that in my old job for 14 years, like I said. I wasn't the project manager, I was just one of the so-called stakeholders, as in I was the responsible person for the user and site IT. So we did support of network on site and of users in general. And yeah, I thought, yeah, I can handle that. It's not too hard to do these projects. And to be quite honest, they aren't hard to do. They are as easy as it gets. I mean, every one of us has moved once before in our lives, and you basically know how to organize a move. The only difference is that it's bigger. So you have to think in bigger things. And sorry for the cat hair. I'm still in my pajamas. It's 9 in the morning, so please excuse me. So yeah, I thought this was a good idea to get a foot in the door and to open up new opportunities. It was pretty much planned from the get-go that it would only be a 1-year assignment, at least from our side of the deal. The real estate department thought a bit different. Sip of coffee. But from my side, it was always only going to be a 12-month deal, starting in January, ending end of next month. And to be quite honest, I didn't expect what I finally found. No one told me either. So also not the person I took over from. She could have been honest with me. That would have spared me quite a bit of headache. Because I might have reconsidered doing this whole thing completely. So anyway, you have heard me talk about this before. All the projects I did pretty much went as chaotic as it got, except for 2 of them, which was my own office move. That was one I had about 6 months time of planning, and my planning was actually very good for that. I was prepared. I just wasn't prepared to have to babysit, basically, grown people, which is what happened, and which is what made the last 2 weeks before the move so hard. They nearly brought me to my breaking point. I literally, one morning, I worked 10 to 12-hour days during these 2 weeks. And literally one of these mornings I was sitting in the living room. I usually don't watch TV in the morning, but when I have to get into the office, I'll have breakfast TV on. And I was getting my breakfast, putting it on the, and that's completely my fault, but that's how I usually do it. I put it on the arm of my couch. It's a very, very broad arm, so it's usually not a problem. It was basically just a plate with 2 pieces of toast on it, with some stuff on it. And before I could sit down and take it back into my hand, Lola jumped on the arm of the couch, and the whole thing toppled over on the floor. It has happened before. It's nothing to actually worry about. Just get up, clean up the mess, get new breakfast. Shit happens. That's what you get when you have pets. What I did that morning actually was having a slight meltdown. I don't know why. I just started crying, and I mean the really ugly, hysterical sobs kind of crying. I was so tired. It was 6 in the morning. I was completely done with all this BS in my life, and now I had to clean up cream cheese and tomato off my floor. That was not what I was looking for that morning. And it got so bad that I actually woke up my boyfriend. I think that was the moment he realized something was really, really wrong with me. I'm usually... 2 weeks ago, when I finished my Jena move, the manager there actually told me, your calm and collected way is very reassuring in a project like this. And I thought, if you just knew how it's inside right now, because usually, yes, I'm very calm and very collected. It's very hard to get me to lose my composure, but this year had whittled me down so badly. I was pretty much grasping for straws, and I don't know how I actually made it through the last week of work this year. I have really no idea. I think I was just functioning on autopilot and pure adrenaline. So yeah, I did the hysterical ugly, sobbing, crying. And the boyfriend realized something is really wrong with my woman. He and I, we've been through quite a lot. Most of it his problems. And I think he still feels guilty about that, even though that's... I've always told him, you know what, you might not have asked me to marry you. You might never do it, but it's still good times and bad times. I'm there, and those were bad times, okay, and they are over now. So let's not wallow in any guilt. But I think now he's happy that he can finally give back from back then, because now he is very stable. And I have to admit, I'm not. I'm still very prone to just crying. So you might have seen, for example, that I'm part of Marissa's Christmas story reading collaboration, and I recently decided that my #1 story I wanted to do was one I couldn't do. I still love the story very much, but it's quite a long one, and for a non-native speaker, the English is pretty much not doable. So Rachel was good enough to take it on. Stay tuned for her videos. You will hear my absolute favorite Christmas story from her. And I think that's actually a good alternative to having me stumble through it and tripping over old-timey words and weird syntax, which is what killed me basically when I tried to read that one. And I love it so much. It's so sad. But yeah, when I was looking to find more stories for me to read, because that one was so long that I actually planned to stretch it out over at least 2 of the videos. I think it might even have been good for a 3rd one, quite honestly. Some of these stories just randomly made me cry. I couldn't finish them. But to be honest, I'm also quite surprised that something that is called a Christmas story might have so much death and destruction in it. I don't know what these authors are thinking. I'm looking at you, Hans Christian Andersen. Yeah. So yeah, I'm currently not as stable as I am usually. I have by now been to the doctors, and that's actually part of what I was going to talk about. So originally this week would have been my last week of work, with Thursday being my last day of work. So Friday was supposed to be my first day of vacation. Plans have changed. So week before last was my biggest move, the one that that had been planned all year long, and I was actually traveling to that city because of that move. I was there for all of the week. It went pretty well. I can't say that I encountered huge issues. I encountered plenty of issues. It was a stressful week. My phone, which is a super stalker and actually tracks you through the health app, even if you have never opened that thing before, that's something I learned, told me that by the end of the week I had pretty much walked the equivalent of a marathon in 5 days, which is unusual for me. I am not someone who does a lot of exercise, which is a problem. I know that. But it has always been a problem with me, and I don't think I'm going to change that anytime soon. Sometimes I want to, but I know that I'm not going to because I don't enjoy it. But I digress again. So this was a very exhausting week, but I got through it. There was only small stuff left to do when I finally left to go home on Friday. I was home on Friday around 9 p.m. And I was pretty much done. And the next morning I realized I am feeling like complete crap. I just want to stay in bed. I never want to get up again in my whole life. Please leave me alone. I did get up eventually. I did do a bit of diamond painting. I think I chatted a bit with Rachel, if I remember correctly. I usually do, so that's pretty much a no-brainer. But yeah, I think we chatted a little bit. I tried to be normal, I guess, but I already felt that something was really, really, really off, even compared to how I'd been for months now. So that didn't go away on Sunday, and Monday morning I went completely heck no, and then I went to the doctor's office. I thought, okay, somehow I have to convince him that he has to put me on sick leave for exhaustion, which quite frankly, even though I felt that it was physically disabling me, I didn't take serious myself, so I had no idea how to get this across to him, if he would take me seriously, if this was actually something you were put on sick leave for, quite honestly. Because usually when I go to the doctors and ask for sick leave, I am pretty sick, as in sniveling, coughing, barely able to speak, you know, the kind of sick you see and you're happy if that person stays away from you as far as possible. This was something you couldn't really see. It was just something I felt, and I put myself under a lot of stress trying to figure out a way to explain to him that there was no way in freaking hell that I could go to work that day, that week. Shouldn't have worried about that, because the moment he stepped into his examination room, greeted me and asked me the question how I was, I pretty much did the whole ugly crying thing again. I got out exactly one word. He asked me, how are you? And I basically gave him the I feel like crap answer in German, which is just one word. And then I started crying. Yeah, and that was it. He actually offered to put me on sick leave for 2 weeks straight away, which is quite unusual. German doctors, they don't hesitate to give you the whole week, but 2 weeks without them asking you to come back in between is very unusual. So yeah, I didn't take it. I only took the 1 week at first. Sip of coffee. Because due to the fact that it is so unusual, I actually didn't dare to do it. Because usually when someone gets 2 weeks of sick leave, people start talking that something is cheesy. And most of the time that's actually true, because most of the time, shortly thereafter, you will learn that the person is going to leave the company, and he pretty much had himself put on sick leave because he didn't want to go back to the job that was going to let him go, or her. So yeah. Anyway, I knew by the time Wednesday rolled around that I would take him up on his offer to come back on Friday and get the extension for my sick leave. And I'm pretty sure if I wouldn't go on vacation end of this week, I would have taken a 3rd week as well, because right now I'm still completely wiped out. So all I do basically is get up in the morning, craft, sit on the couch with the cats, read, and I managed to cook a couple of times over the weekend. I still have to get back into the groove of taking care of my apartment, of taking really care of myself, except for showering and putting on some clean clothes, which is the height of what I managed in the last few months. So yeah. So then when he said he was going to put me on sick leave, I also bit the bullet and asked him about how to get help, as in get a therapist. So he gave me some contact information for that. And I will have to see and make some appointments very soon, because I'm pretty sure, you know, back in the day when my boyfriend had the issues, I preached at him that he had to take care of himself, that he had to get into therapy. So I'm not going to preach things I'm not going to do myself. I realize that something is up and that I need to get help. So I'm going to do that. So yeah. So that means I am free. Woohoo! So I've been on sick leave last week, I'm on sick leave this week, and then I'm on vacation until the first week of January is over. I also spoke to my, oh, there's another E, to my former boss, who had been my manager for over 10 years of my now 18 years in the company. He is the only one I have confided in what's actually wrong with me. So people know I am on sick leave, but you are not obliged to tell your employer why. You just have to tell them that you are on sick leave, and you have to provide the slip from your doctor. But the version for your employer doesn't state what's wrong with you. They are not entitled to this information. So no one knows except for him, because I was talking to him and telling him that I spoke to one of the managers in the project management team. I had applied to a new job there. Because once again, for me, it was always clear this assignment was only going to be 1 year long. And after that, I wanted to get into the proper project management team and get a proper education. So as of January 7th next year, I'm going to be a junior project manager, IT projects. I'm going to get support from the team, and that is an important point to keep in mind for a bit later in this WiP Chat. And yeah, I hope things will turn up for 2020. If not, I don't know what I'm going to do, quite honestly. So you might wonder, why is she even still in this job? Why didn't she quit already? Because this obviously was a painful year. Yeah, that's basically, I already alluded to this. I have been with this company, and that's a bit complicated, because I just explained to you that this company hasn't existed before 2016. I switched companies quite a few times because we were bought by a different company, and then the company split up again, and you were moved around. But every time I took all my years on the job with me legally. So by now I have 18 of them. I actually have a company retirement fund, and this is all stuff, and also being there for a long time gives you quite a bit of job security. If the company has to let go of people at some point, they have to decide in a certain way who is going to go, and it's usually first the ones that don't have children, that are the youngest and have been with the company the shortest time. So I'm now no longer the youngest. I sadly don't have kids, but I have been with the company for 18 years, and that actually gives me a lot of security. Yeah, that's basically the reason why I'm not looking. Also, actually, the people in my part of this company, I like working with them. I like the job I used to have. I'm very certain there is another one I'm going to like just as much out there. I just have to find it and get it, without going through all the things that entail switching employers. So yeah. It's a very German thing not to be too daring. And you might find that a bit ridiculous, but that's just how we are. Sorry, not sorry. I think it's also the issue that I have been the main provider of my little family unit of 2 for a long time. And I just still operate under the assumption that I can't risk stuff. Which is also still very true, because I still earn quite a bit more than my boyfriend, and he could not support us on his own. I could, he couldn't. So, yeah. I poured out a whole lot of drills just to put down 5 or 6 of them. Great. So yeah, good news. I have a new job. Bad news, I am currently not well mentally, and that also means physically to a certain extent. So I have never been one to be ashamed of things that are deemed psychosomatic. I know that a lot of things I am experiencing right now physically belong in that category, and with me that's fine. I've always said, yes, that is a true condition. This is nothing to be ashamed of. And if the doctor tells you your symptoms are psychosomatic, that does not mean that you're crazy. It means that your mind isn't well, and that is basically your mind is telling you through your body, because that's something you can understand. So I'm trying to sprinkle these drills throughout the black parts of her kimono. I'm trying to do it not too evenly, because this looks weird in the end if I do. And I'm not sure, I think I have been good enough with the prism drills that I might be able to go back and replace a few of the black drills once I'm done, because they are now only going to go in this part here, in this here, and this, and then we are done with it. So I might have some left over. I can sprinkle even more. And Nelly is saying good morning to you if you heard her. Not sure about that. And you probably heard that. Yeah. Oh yeah, you guys have been asking about Lola, because in my recent videos she was absent quite a bit. That's actually also something that resulted out of my many absences in the last few weeks. I have been traveling for half of November, and she's a bit miffed with me. She can't stand it when I'm gone. She's a mama's girl, and yeah, the boyfriend is there, but you know, our cats are pretty weird. So mine is totally imprinted on me. So she wants to be with me. She wants to have my attention. If she actually goes to him, it's to punish me. It's the funniest thing. So when I don't do what she wants, she will go to him and demand cuddles of him. And she will check. She will actually look over and check if I am seeing her doing it. So this is so funny. I tell you, we are exaggerating, of course, quite a bit on what we project on our pets, but they do quite a bit of the things we think they do for real. I mean, she is trying to punish my bad behavior, as in I don't jump right away when she wants cuddles because I'm doing something right now and stuff like that. She's totally punishing me for that, and it's the funniest thing. It really is. Cats are really like bratty little kids. Yeah, and his cat is the same with him. So she's very, very much focused on him. He's allowed to do things I would never be allowed. Like, for example, touching her back paws. That is not something I'm allowed to do. Oh yeah. Yeah. He can actually, you know, I don't know if you have a cat that won't kill you if you touch her paws, the bottom of her toes, the toe beans. But if you have such a cat, try scratching her between her big part of the toe and the little beans. And she will probably spread out her whole paw and be all, oh yeah, yeah. He's allowed to do that with her. I am not. I would bleed. I would bleed so much. I can do it with my cat. She loves it. Although I think her back paws, she's actually ticklish. Anyway. So yeah, that means I'm officially already off for the year, and since Friday I also know that I won't go back to this job in January. And I have to say, this is such a relief. Really it is. It's really, you know, I didn't have a personal problem with the people I was working with. I actually liked them quite a bit. But the whole thing, I've been in many high stress situations, sometimes for a month on end before, and I usually don't lose my poop, so to speak. I'm usually the one that stays calm, that lets people rant and get their frustration off listening to them. I actually always quite enjoyed that. And I don't know why I caved this quickly, or didn't, but I think something my former boss said actually rang very true. While I didn't have a problem with the people I was working with, I also didn't really feel supported. I had the feeling that there were a lot of expectations, but no willingness actually to provide some help. Everything was always waved away with, we are understaffed, we don't have the time, get it done somehow. And I can do that for a while, but you know, I expect some kind of direction, some kind of support. I expect to be able to go to a manager and tell them, this is not going well, could you please intervene, or give me at least a hint what I'm supposed to do. I mean, this whole thing started out horribly in January. I didn't have my channel yet back then, but maybe you were part of Rachel Ray's viewers and you were in her chat, I think in the first week of January, in her live chat. where I actually spoke about what had happened, that I had been, after I think 4 days on the job, I had been chewed out in front of everyone for something I had no control over. And this was so shocking for me because this has never happened to me before. I've never, in all the years I've been working now, had anyone basically stab me in the back like this. I mean, there are sometimes rotten apples within a team, but usually it's not the head of the team. In that case it was, and that just shocked me. I've always had such good managers that I never even considered running into one who would do something like that. That soured me on the whole thing pretty much from the get-go. But I really, really wanted to give it another chance when this person was actually removed a few months after, in March. He first removed himself and then he was removed from the company permanently within a few weeks. So go figure. Yeah. But actually it didn't go a lot better afterwards. I mean, no one stabbed me in the back, but it's pretty much, if you're supposed to find your way through a new job without proper guidance from the get-go, with tons of pressure, with the feeling you can't really go to someone and ask for help, because you will just be told, I can't hold your hand and you have to do it on your own. That's just no fun. It's really no fun. This is a level of pressure and stress I can't cope with any longer. And literally everyone who knows me in my professional life knows that I can cope with quite a bit. I've always been able to. I've never had an issue with long working hours and going through crazy stuff. I remember when my own office move was happening, one of the people supporting me in that from the people in my office was the new project manager, and she had been given, so she's one of my new teammates now, and she had been given a project that was crazy in scope. So she basically had started September 1st, and she had been given a project that that meant she had to pull out of a contract we had lost by the end of the month, train the new supplier coming in, stuff like that. And at some point she literally asked if we wanted to switch, because I thought what she was doing sounded actually quite fun. I had done that before. Yeah, the timeline was crazy, but this is actually something I used to thrive on. Yeah, I would have switched with her in an instant, because my office move projects were such a pain in the ass compared to that. And I can't even tell if I'm getting across what I mean right now, or if I'm just whining. You have to tell me. But yeah, I would have switched in a heartbeat. I would really have preferred to do the crazy one compared to the dumb one. Yep. So yeah. Anyway, I am expecting that even though that team told me they wanted to keep me next year and they really enjoyed working with me, will now not feel so much love for me any longer, because they should have gotten an email from my former boss, who actually facilitated this assignment, that we are going to terminate the assignment permanently, so I won't be replaced by anyone. And also the last weeks I should have worked for them I spent on sick leave, which I will admit is something I would never have done in the past, but I have to put myself first now. I've pretty much given everything I can give, and if they think that is not enough, then they think it's not enough. It's not something I can change. And quite honestly, it's not something I want to change at this point. Really don't want to. So yeah, I'm free now. That means I'm going to spend the next few weeks crafting, getting ready for Christmas, enjoying hopefully the pre-Christmas time in Germany, which is always quite fun. I'm trying to record as many videos as I can, because as of December 16th, I think it is, my boyfriend will join me in the vacation, and then we will be both on vacation for I think he also starts back on work January 7th, so that will be a time where I won't be able to film. But it's also a few days before Christmas, and then there's only a few days until New Year happens, so there is anyway a lot of family time in between that, so nothing really lost. Oops, sorry. Sip of lukewarm coffee. But I'll make sure to have her finished before that I can show you the post review. I have to be honest, I put 3 paintings on my docket this month. I hope you have seen my December theme of the month video, which came out on Saturday. I put 3 paintings in here. One of them is a giant one, a 90 by 63. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I will be able to manage to finish Elsa version 1 as well, version A as well. I always forget how much longer I take on these kits because of the confetti, which is totally worth it, because all the confetti you can see here, there are so many colors in this flower alone. It's really worth it because it gives so much shading afterwards. But I always forget how long I have to work on this. So on this stripe, I will work about 4 hours. Longer this time because I've talked a lot and not put down many drills while I did. So basically I can say I pulled a dealie. But yeah. And I think I won't be able to finish the 3rd painting. I'm also stitching right now, and there's a new thing coming up. Oh, I'm sorry, my nose is itching. There's a new thing coming up on the 6th, and I want to spend some time on that as well. That craft isn't as time consuming as diamond painting or stitching, because stitching, woo, that takes a lot of time. But that is coming up as well, and I want to spend some time on that. I have no idea when I will finally get the paper crafting in my channel, because right now I have lost my paper craft mojo. I want to get back into it, and I made the advent calendar for my best friend. Of course, I forgot to take pictures, so I can't show you. But I'll ask her to take a picture and send it to me. But I wasn't happy with that one. It didn't turn out as I wanted it to. This thing was fighting me to the nails. So yeah, that was not what I expected. And I overlooked a couple of E's because of course I did. That's all the talking. So December is pretty much all done and scheduled, to be honest, as far as videos go. This one is an extra one I'm going to squeeze in there that I didn't plan for, but when I woke up this morning I thought, you know what, you were up early, you could do WiP Chat. And usually I'm not very chatty in the morning, but I hope I did well enough and I don't sound too sleepy scratchy. Yeah. So I might have bitten off more than I can chew with the theme of the month thing, because yeah, I want to get some serious progress in on my Nutcracker Parade stitch, and I finally want to start the Harry Potter Stitch Your Own Adventure. In some delusional weird dream, I was actually thinking of finishing the frame before the monthly, oh, I think it's bi-monthly clues started in January. I'm not going to manage that. The frame is huge. This will take me a while. Dear me. It also doesn't help that I saw the sneak of the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery stitch along for next year, and I really, really, really want to do that one. I should not take on another year-long stitch along. Because I know then when Stitch comes along again, I want to do that one again, and I want to finish it this time, because I totally did not finish it. Once I realized it was the Golden Girls, like some expected actually from week 1, I completely stopped, because this is just someone I knew I wouldn't enjoy doing. And while I watched all my fellow teammates work on their stitch, and some of them completed it and it looks awesome. I was right, it was just not something I thought, oh, I wish I had stitched that. No, it's just not me. And if the last few months hadn't been that bad, I might have just thought, well, you know what? It's only a few hours each week, invest the time, but it was a few precious hours, and I really, really, really didn't want to waste them on something I knew I wouldn't like in the end. Still, my team trip did pretty good. We were a very small team, and I think we made 17th place, which I have been told by my teammates was an amazing thing to do. So next year, we are going to do that again, and I will actually pull my weight, and we will do just as well, if not better. No pressure at all. Yeah, that's the issue when you have so many creative hobbies, because I also used to do National Novel Writing Month in the past, and I absolutely did not this year. There was no way I could have. And all through November, with all the mails trickling in, because they sent you quite a few mails throughout November, giving you pep talk and stuff like that, I really mourned the fact that I was not part of that. I love National Novel Writing Month. So that's another thing I would like to do next year, which is of course insane. Because there would be two stitch alongs. There would be, or maybe even 3 if I did the pumpkin one as well. There would be National Novel Writing Month. There would be diamond painting in the YouTube channel. Let's not go there. Let's just not go there. At least not yet. Maybe once the years further down the pipe, I can actually think about doing this stuff. So, question now is, guys, what are your plans for Christmas? Because now that I'm finally free of a lot of things that have weighed me down recently, I am starting to think what I want to do. I mean, I have a lot of free time ahead of me now. A lot of it I already have planned out, and maybe too much, I don't know, we will see. I'm not really going to put myself under a lot of pressure to accomplish everything that I have planned so far. Baby steps, my boyfriend tells me, baby steps. But I want to get at least some of it done. I want to meet with a few friends, because I've neglected all my friends this year so much, and I'm so sorry about that. I want to go out a bit and actually do stuff instead of just sitting at home. So yeah, my plans for the next few weeks are to Priority number 1, get my house back into something resembling order, and yeah, something you could show someone, because right now you couldn't. You couldn't. It's so embarrassing. Priority number 2 is to get back into contact with my friends, with my family. I also have not spoken a whole lot with my parents or my grandmother in the last couple of months, and I have to get better at that. And yeah, and then I want to get out of the house and actually do stuff outside of the house, visit Christmas markets, and I'm going to ask friends of ours if they would be interested to visit the one in Esslingen with us. I told Rachel about that. It's actually a very special one. It's a mixture of Christmas market and Renaissance fair, and on the weekends there's actually also an arts and craft fair attached to it. So that's a very special one, and we haven't been there, I think, in the last 5 years. We always plan to go and then we never do. I don't know why. But this year I want to. I want to, and I'm going to go there on the weekend so I can have the arts and craft fair as well, because I'm greedy like that. And I'm going to ask those friends of ours, because they have a little girl and she might enjoy the one in Esslingen a bit more than the standard one. That would be awesome. Yeah, let's see if we manage that. That would be really, really good. And that are my hopefully not over the top plans for the next few weeks. Also in between I plan to do a lot of crafting, of course, but at least some of my crafts, if you don't count paper crafting, hasn't been a chore, even throughout all of this stress. Diamond painting has been pretty good, because I like to call it, and I mean no offense, I like to call diamond painting my no-brain craft. Because I don't have to be really creative with it. I just have to follow my symbols and put drills down. So this actually gives me the feeling of crafting, but I don't have to invest a whole lot of brain into it. So please don't take this as me putting down this craft or anything. You know how many hours I spend on it. So I don't mean that by any means. I think that's actually what's so relaxing about it, that you don't have to think too much about it, that you can just do it and let it flow, and it will create something very pretty in the end, and you don't need any special skills. And yeah, I think that's what's actually so appealing about this as well. You know, for example, right now, what's very popular is adult coloring, but you actually have to learn quite a bit about colors, about different coloring media, about shading, about lighting, about how you could transition between the two media and stuff like that. It takes a lot of time. I've done a lot of that because I'm coloring my own stamped images when I do cards. It's also very satisfying, but it's for sure not a no-brain craft. You have to put a lot of brain into it. Same with stitching. That's probably why I don't do as much stitching as I do diamond painting, even though I am really, really back into stitching right now. I'm looking at all the patterns and I want to get them all and do them all, and I really, really have to put my mental foot down to not do that, because we all know how far down the rabbit hole I can go. But this is it now, an hour long. I think I'm not going to make this any longer. So let's wind down, shall we? Once more, I would like to refer you to my unboxing of this kit for DIYmoon Shop. I'm sorry if you're feeling annoyed by all the advertisement I'm doing, but I'm just very, very down with this charity event. I want to get it as much support as it can. I have put in my order on the weekend, so I am now officially part of the giving, not just the receiving in this kit here. I am thinking of getting another kit. I don't know, I have to check the finances first. I would like to try another of the artists. I haven't so far, because the DIYmoon Shop pretty much has a new artist collaboration coming out each month now, and I think I have now 5 artists in my portfolio, including Kathy, and there are a couple more I really, really would like to try. But the painting I purchased is actually another Margaret Morales, so I didn't broaden my horizon. I just got one of her kits that I loved very much. And I hope that it will... Well, it won't arrive before I have to stop filming for this year. But maybe I can hold back and keep it in the box until I can get back to filming. Oh, we will see. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Yeah, but please check out this unboxing, check out DIYmoon Shop, check out this gift giving event they have, this charity event for the orphanage, and I keep forgetting Destiny's Promise, I think is the name. I don't know why, I just can't remember the name every time I want to say it, but I think it's Destiny's Promise Orphanage. Please check that out. I think this is an awesome cause. It's just as wonderful as the one from last year. There are also videos about the one from last year on their channel, so please have a look at that. They did a whole video of this Christmas party they did, and it's such a wonderful video to watch. Yeah, and I really want to get the word out and encourage you, if you have the funds, if you wanted to get a DIYmoon Shop kit anyway, why not now, when 10% of the proceeds will go to this orphanage and into financing the Christmas party they have planned as well. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that rambly WiP Chat. And you know what? I actually think. No, sorry, brain fart. This rambly WiP Chat. Even though I feel like I was a bit, I don't know, a bit brain farty, I guess. But yeah. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to. Also, there's other things you can do. Oh, sorry, I'm having to stretch. My shoulder is hurting a bit today. I think I slept wrong. There's also other things you can do down below, like hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button, stuff like that. But you absolutely don't have to if you don't want to. Thank you for staying with me through the whole thing. If you're still with me, that's amazing. And yeah, we will talk to each other very soon. Bye, guys.